Is it on?
Yeah, it's on.
It's on? Alright, welcome
It's
back
on.
to Broke Till Friday. Episode something. This is probably 87, if I'm counting correctly. So, yeah.
I need to meter this.
Edward, if you don't mute it, you will be executed. Extrajudicially executed
Yes.
in the street. Just like people are clamoring about mob justice and stuff like that. You know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
After certain people's last names who rhyme with Bittenhouse got off scot-free. But hey,
Tittenhouse.
Jizzenhouse. Oh, that first 30 seconds. It doesn't.
It doesn't
Whatever.
Whatever.
Not monetized. Okay. Immediately. Honestly. Oh well. So we've got some questions in today. We're gonna be doing the old who's of questions. Oh, and also I was gonna say I want to do some man on the street interviews with like
hell
people,
yeah.
like just random people, and be like, "What'd you buy for like? What'd you have for Thanksgiving?" Or like, "What are you buying today?"
Yeah.
Because
What were you thankful for?
exactly, I got 10-foot
Titties
cables.
and rompers?
Maybe.
I want a romper.
A romper. It's so uncomfortable though, because think of it this way: if you put on a romper, how are you gonna pee unless it has like a little pee flap? Because it goes up all the way. You have to take it off the entire way if you want to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm thinking like if I do get one, I'm not gonna get one, but if I would ever get one, I'd add like, have you ever seen those ads for sheath underwear?
No.
They're all over YouTube. Sheath underwear is it's like it's got a little thingy for your peen.
Oh
When
my
you're-
god. Pouch underwear for men. Look
Yeah.
at that. A dual pouch, separate compartments for maximum support.
I'd
And
add like a
performance.
pseudo one. Yeah, I'd use a pseudo one of that onto the romper that you could just.
So like, I don't understand. Like, what is the point of this? Like, there's
It's more comfortable, basically.
is
Supposedly.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say like, have you ever worn one? Because I'm like,
I've been thinking about trying it. Not gonna lie,
it says for sports and stuff like that. Modal spandex fabric.
it's like,
But
it's like comfortable. It's like form fitting, basically. But like basically, because like you know how like on boxers they usually don't have like a gap to just like that. You have to take out all your fucking pants.
Mm-hmm.
That one slip it right in.
Sheath
Yeah.
underwear, $30 for
Oh,
one.
$30. Oh, Kepi? I would.
And now a break to hear from our sponsors. Not Sheath underwear. Not Camel. Not anyone really. We're gonna be surviving on breadcrumbs alone. But hey, as they said in the Bible, man does not live from bread alone, which was why Taco Bell was created. No solo del pan vive el hombre. What's that? More creamer. Oh, it's his coffee. Because as we all know, if you don't have your coffee in the morning, you are allowed to be an asshole to anyone at all. We've all had those kinds of people where they come in and they're like, don't talk to me. I'm a total bitch until I have my coffee in the morning. Haha. It's like, wow, sounds like a chemical dependency made you a cunt. But hey, we've got the creamer goblin filling in. That's sugar. It looks like sugar powdered. You're not just putting in cocaine into your drink. You want any coffee with that creamer? Jesus Christ. You're gonna be eating it's like fucking oatmeal now at this point. Oatmeal consistency. Look at that. Oh, dude, I would throw up right now.
No. Like, okay, so you know how you do the things with the ketchup packets, right?
Yeah. Right,
Or
Mike.
and the hot sauce.
Mike.
I thought it was already unmuted. And with the hot sauce packets, right?
Yeah, like
Like
sipping it.
So, me and my friends, me and my very close buddy pals of mine,
Buddies.
did a similar thing, but instead we were at a Norm's at like 10 o'clock at night or something,
Mhm.
and we were just taking shots with
The creamers?
the creamers.
That's hilarious.
I heard a coffee, and then one of my friends just grabs it. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's disgusting. And they're like, no, it's really good. It's really, really good. Just try it. And I was like, it's just so similar to what my other friend does, that with the hot sauce
ketchup
packets. And they were like, no, that's disgusting. This is good. I'm like,
because to be fair, I'm not doing it by itself. I do it with food. Because I'm like, so basically what he's talking about is whenever we're eating like burgers,
Jack in the
fries,
Box.
Yeah, like
That's
Jack
where
in
it
the Box.
happened the most part. Like we
Yes.
would go to Jack in the Box at like
100%.
midnight.
100%.
Good times.
The munchie meals and stuff. So basically, like anytime
You don't treat me like
fast
that
food and
anymore.
stuff like that.
What happened?
People change. Yeah. So the packets. So the pack with the packets, I would like. Oh, and yeah, spilled it all over yourself. Jesus Christ! Hot coffee in your crotch. And we got no napkins,
No napkins.
no towels,
No
nothing.
life.
You just go grab some napkins or something before you spill it again. Come on.
Yeah, it's fine.
Paper towels. What? You're just gonna leave it there? Well. All right.
If I burn, I burn.
I feel like everyone can like angled at just the right
Is
angle
it?
so we could see the,
Oh, fuck.
the
Yeah,
crotch
okay.
tape.
Yeah, it looks like I took a piss. Fuck.
All right. While you grab the napkins, I'll tell them. So basically, what would happen is, I would. Ah, and you spilled some. Ah, it's fine. Go grab. Go paper towel. Paper towel. Paper towel. Anytime we would go get fast food, what I would do is, like I would take bites of burgers and stuff like that, but I'd be too lazy to like pour out the ketchup and stuff or pour out the hot sauce. So I would just straight up, like I would take bites of the burger, eat some fries, and then rip open a little packet and just go and eat it, which is not as crazy as doing fucking shots with creamer, to be honest. Because shots with creamer, you're just like, I mean, I guess it's milk. It's milk. You can drink creamer. It's basically milk, there's no problem with that. But I'm not just straight sipping ketchup and not just straight sipping hot sauce either. I'm literally eating food with ketchup with hot sauce, just in a different way. Instead of pouring it on my plate first, why am I gonna pour it on my plate? I just pour it right in my mouth. There were no
But I think the exact opposite way, because I remember one time you were at my house, right?
Yeah.
And I had sweet bread.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? Let's have some coffee or some milk with some sweet bread.
Mhm.
Some pan dulce, get in touch with the Hispanic roots.
La
Hey,
raza.
compa.
Exactly. La raza.
How do you call it? And I just broke half of the sweet bread and just dumped it into the drink that I was having. You were like,
That's awful. Cause
and you just
You
took a bite.
lose-
You were taking
Yeah.
like small bites and like taking
Yes.
sips. I was just like, bah, chow, with a spoon.
calm down, Lightning McQueen. Because the thing is, I know you're like eating with a spoon, but I'm like, I like having the dry thing in my mouth and then drinking some of the coffee and then like slowly
I
bringing
don't
it
think
down.
it's good if it's dry.
But no. It's not even just that, but it's like, I don't want it to be all soggy and pieced apart in my drink. That's the main difference. Because it's like with an Oreo, I'll do the same thing. I'll take a bite of an Oreo, take a swig of milk, and like chew it up in my mouth. Right now, there's people who like dunk it and leave
Yeah.
it there for a while,
Yeah.
but then you get bits and pieces of Oreo. I don't know. That's just me.
That's just.
But
me,
with the
though.
cafecito and pani
Yeah.
cafe, I would not
Just
toss it
like-
in there. I'm just gonna dunk it in there. No.
Just dunk it in the creamer.
I take a bite. Take a bite. Honestly,
No, yeah, I just. Bah.
I thought you were gonna go for round 2 in the creamer. I was like, he's about to turn it into oatmeal consistency. Legit.
No.
Um,
I don't add sugar. I just add cocaine into it. So
that's
it's
it.
got to be fine.
Liquid or powder? Because you
Both.
gotta.
You have to get both. You can't just choose between one or the other.
What do you? I mean, obviously you'd overdose, but imagine if you couldn't overdose on drugs.
Oh, dude,
right?
I'd be doing drugs every day.
100%.
100%.
If you couldn't overdose,
I
on
would be
drugs.
driving on drugs.
No, I don't know about that.
No.
Driving on weed. You're like playing some music. Like, all right. Driving on cocaine. Driving on meth. You're not even driving anything. You're just pedaling really hard because you have that much energy. You're able to pedal as fast as like 60 miles per hour on the freeway on a
No.
fucking trike.
Oh, I was gonna say no. You're pedaling in a car,
No,
like Fred Flintstone style.
That's what meth would be. Actually, you're right. That's what meth would be. Shrooms is you think you're in your car, but you're actually just sitting in your racing chair, holding your phone.
No, you're sitting in your fucking racing car bed, just like.
Mom says I get to sleep on the racing car bed today.
Not gonna lie, a racing car bed sounds like the type of stupid shit I would buy with my adult money if I had my own
adult
place.
racing car bed, dude. Legit, if like,
But
if
like
I was
I'd
rich-
paint it. I'd paint it to like I can do some like manual labor work,
There's racing car beds that can fit queen and king size mattresses.
Ooh.
That's amazing. I am 100% for this, by the way.
Yes.
Holy moly.
No, you know what? You know what I'd paint it as? Like the Green Power Ranger, just to make it have the aesthetic. I don't know why, but that seems like it'd be great.
I guess so. Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm a fucking genius. Now every time I take out a picture or a reference or something, I'm gonna name it or I'm gonna label it the minute that we were talking about it. Like this one, I just called it like 11 minutes in.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's like okay, that's a good strategy.
Mm.
Editing live on the podcast.
Yeah, you know that's usually the job of the producer. Like that's why they have like Kyle or whatever.
Yeah,
they timestamp it and they put
things they want to throw stuff up on and stuff like that.
And also to like do all like on the thing research. Like I was watching this one podcast called The Drip. I've mentioned it before. It's one of the
coffee one.
The coffee one.
The coffee one.
The coffee one. Coffeezilla. Shout out. Although to be fair, like some things that they say on there, it's like, come on. Like in this last episode, he was saying how Squid Game is only anti-capitalist thing if you want to analyze it that deep. I'm like, bro, it's not even that deep.
It's not that deep.
It's literally what the show is about. It's like
100%.
It's like trying to say that it's not anti-capitalist messaging basically is like saying, I don't know, it doesn't have squid in the title.
Yeah. No,
they say some pretty funky stuff sometimes, but overall,
you did see all of it too, right?
What?
Squid Game?
No,
haven't watched it.
I haven't.
Edward,
News just watched it front to back immediately as it came out. I was like, I saw. You know what I saw? I saw 30 different analysis videos on it.
That doesn't count.
More total run. I swear, I've seen more total runtime of like analysis videos than the actual show. Like I've pieced together every single thing that happens in the show just by the clips that I've seen of it.
Because I was gonna say my one criticism of it is like they claim and they say, oh, it's supposed to be fair. Like where the outside life is fair, but in here it's fair. Everyone has the same odds of winning. That's how you can vote out. You can stay in, all this kind of stuff, right? But it's not fair.
It's not fair
because in the very first game, they say you will be eliminated. They don't say you're going to fucking die.
Yeah.
Like it's a very different game if they tell them, hey, you're going to move and you'll be eliminated, right? And they're like, oh, you moved? Eliminated. Okay, goodbye. And no one else moves. But because first person gets shot and everyone's like, oh my God, they're murdering everyone, well, more than half of them start running and they just die for no reason because they're like, you're breaking the rules, ha ha ha. But the rules were never fully explained in the first place. So just from the beginning, it's not a fair game.
Yeah.
It's not a fair game.
It's not a fair game. The only thing that I feel counteracts that is later in the show, they do decide to go back in personally.
That's from after they learn.
Yeah.
That's after more than 50%. That's after they murdered 200 people, basically.
Yeah. So those 200 people didn't get fair.
Nope.
They didn't get a fair shake. Nope. After that, they debatable, but they kind of did.
Like if you explain the rules going, hey, this is a life or death situation. You're going to come in the game, but you can win a bunch of money. You coming back and people be like, okay, we'll see what's going on. I got nothing to lose, all this kind of stuff, right? I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. And I mean, there's plenty of people like that have that situation, basically.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm pretty sure. We've mentioned it on this podcast before, that there's very little we're willing to not do in exchange for large sums of money.
Honestly, yeah. Like, there's this joke that goes, Madam, would you have sex with me? And she's like, of course not. He's like, okay. What if I pay you $1 million? And she's like, oh, okay. He's like, okay, what if I pay you $10? And she's like, what kind of woman do you think I am? And he's like, we've already established kind of woman you are. Now we're just bargaining.
Yeah.
It's like, of course, name an amount of sum of money, like people.
Yeah.
Fucking Fear Factor. They were winning like $5,000 and eating like donkey dicks.
Yeah, like they were eating like a whole bunch of shit. Like that's why it's such a common, like, not even joke at this point. It's like all over social media, there's like these things like partners asking their significant others. It's like, oh, if someone offered you $5 billion, would you be willing to cheat on me? And everyone's like, well, yeah, of course. And then even they're like, good, okay, I thought you weren't. Like if you had said no, it's like, okay, I'm dating someone that's pretty dumb.
Honestly,
it's like, God damn, dude, like chill.
Those stupid hypotheticals that I see where it's like, there's a tiny little bunny here. If you step on him, you get $10,000. You doing it? And then like everyone in the comments like, no, I could never, no, I could never. And then there's always that one guy that's like, I'm putting on my steel toe boots. Like, I'm gonna make quick work of this because $10,000. Like, I understand, yeah, it's a bunny, all this kind of stuff, but it's like in the short term, $10,000 will do you more good than a baby bunny will. That you can buy a bunch of baby bunnies, you can rehabilitate the mom, like so much stuff.
Not all, but
you know what I mean,
yeah,
right?
I
It's
get
like
what you mean.
you could basically make your own bunny sanctuary in your house. Well, or
for 10 mil, yeah.
Yeah, but like for $10,000. But it's funny because like in Fear Factor, they were playing for $50,000. Correction. They were playing for a chance to win $50,000.
Not for $50,000.
There's people who drank horse cum, donkey dicks. They ate like the worst thing possible. They didn't even fucking win. Like
they won nothing. Yeah. They got fame. They got famous.
Name a famous Fear Factor contestant.
I don't fucking know.
Exactly.
But like if Fear Factor was the thing today, like they would be kind of famous. They'd be social media famous. It's really a lacking of the time that they were in.
No. It was a really popular thing, right? Like it was a popular show. Yes.
But the people.
Exactly.
The people right now, like TikTok and like Facebook, like
there's so much more you can do.
There's so much more. Like those people would be famous by now.
Maybe.
But or some of them at least.
The most famous person on Fear Factor is basically Bro Jogan, because I mean, you know,
Bro Jogan was on there.
He's the host. Did you not know
the host?
That? Oh my god! I did not know
that.
Look at this. This is back when he had hair.
He had hair.
Look. Fear Factor. I mean, he was a little balding already and stuff like that. But yeah, he had hair.
Oh, I was thinking of X Factor. I think I was like imagining a red logo with like
Fear
that,
Factor.
and I knew what you were talking about. I just got the name and the
name, place, location, hosts, episodes, everything wrong. Yeah, but look, that's like the first. I think one of the first seasons where he has like almost a full head of hair. And then he just went bald in the last one. In like they rebooted it. Oh my god! Wait. That's when he was super young. That's crazy. The American TV reality show.
So over the course of that show, he I guess just watching all those people do that shit is like intense.
Honestly, he's just like, yeah, that's a little too much for me. So I'm
gonna lose my hair now. Thanks. His hair dipped out.
Jesus Christ. It's like everyone knows him. Everyone knows him as the guy who's the bald guy on steroids who's telling everyone, take DMT but don't take the vaccine, you know?
Yeah.
You know? Little did they know that Bro Jogan, Joe Rogan. I'm saying Bro Jogan because it's funny, but
yeah, Bro Jogan is his name. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Who's Joe Rogan? I don't know.
Bro Jogan. Look at that, hosted by Joe Rogan. My God. Queen Mary bull riding. But yeah, a bunch
Joe Brogan or Bro Jogan?
Bro Jogan.
Bro Jogan.
It's like bro. I think he said Bro Jogan just for that. But yeah, Joe Rogan. And now he's famous for the Joe Rogan podcast and stuff like that. But to be fair, he was like one of the first ones who started doing podcasting when it wasn't even really a thing.
Yeah.
He did it, I think it's like since 2004 or 2005, like really early on, when it was like just after the birth of the internet, basically.
Yeah.
Internet.com, all that kind of stuff. Everyone's like, oh, it's going to fail. Because remember how in like after the 2000.com crash, it was basically like a Ponzi scheme. Everyone in like 1998, 1999, they're all getting their own little websites like, yes, we can do this. And then only the most successful ones came out.
It's a bubble.
Obviously. Yeah, it was the tech.com bubble.
Tech.com bubble.
Boom, that burst. And everyone's like, nah, there's not going to be that much on the internet and stuff. Legit. And they're like, yeah, it's not going to lead to much and stuff like that. And it's
also,
like,
scammers are, interestingly, because I have family who's been and is currently being like scammed and stuff like that. You know, MLMs, all this other sort of things.
Don't we all?
How do you call it? They're getting like not smarter, but they're starting to incorporate more things into their shtick. Like it's nothing like big. It's not like, oh, you know, innovative ways to scam people. No, they're all the same scams basically.
Like check-based scams.
Yeah. It's just like, but now they're like incorporating like. And they've always done this, but now they're just adding new things that they hadn't touched on before. Like now they're incorporating the tulip bubble. Like it's just gotten so popular. Like that's frequently referenced as one of the earliest economic bubbles. The tulip bubble mania in I think Venice.
Oh,
where it was like basically like way back, like, you know, 1864. I remember those days.
Mm-hmm.
How do you call it? and they do like no research into it. They're like, this is definitely the first economic bubble that's ever happened. You know, this shows you why people always fail and why they spend their money this way. And it's just like the most insane shit. Like they take like this real thing and just they spin off the most insane story that you've ever heard of. And they speak it with such like conviction and charisma that you're like, for a second you're like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense. Yeah. And then you take like 3 seconds to think about it and you're like, wait.
No, it does.
What the fuck did you just say to me?
That's crazy.
What did you just say to my motherfucking face?
Tulip Mania was a period during the Dutch Golden Age when contract prices for some bulbs of the recently introduced and fashionable tulip reached extraordinarily high levels, with the major acceleration starting in 1634 and then dramatically collapsing in February of 1637.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, though.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the first ones?
That's one of the first ones.
That's crazy.
That's one of the oldest ones that we know about, of course, because, like, you know, data. Once you start going back that far back, history kind of starts becoming more
gaps in between recorded history.
Well, not just gaps, but like it starts becoming more and more word of mouth. Mm-hmm. So like even when you have records of something, it's like, yeah, this is written down, but it was written down. I wrote it down because you told me, and you told me because Chess told you, and then Chess told you because yeah. Like that's like how a lot of like older and older history, like the more into history you go back, the more it starts to become
ambiguous.
Like the more Lady Godiva stories you find, even if they are recorded, you know, it's like, did this really happen though?
I know, it's crazy, but it's also crazy too how conspiracy theory people can like think like that now for stuff that we have actual proof of, like Holocaust deniers. And stuff like that. You're like, the president of the United States literally went, take pictures of all of this because someone's going to try and cover this up. Someone's going to try and deny this. And I want everyone to see how horrible human history has been, like up until this, like right here in this moment and stuff like that. Right. And so he made sure to get all kinds of records, everything. Right. Like there was a Nazi guard that got fucking sentenced a little while ago.
Oh, yeah, you told me about this last time.
Yeah.
We touched on it, I think.
Nazi trial, October 7th, 2021. A 100-year-old SS guard in court in Germany. That's crazy. Joseph, who was 21 when he first became a guard in 1942, appears in court. That is insane. So yeah, there's literally still people alive who were
tried for it,
people who were complicit, people who survived it, and yet you'll still have like dumbasses that are like 30, sometimes even 40 years old, who were just born after that boom, going like, no, that stuff never happened. Like the numbers, they don't match up, and it's like we have so many records of it, and people still deny it, which is why it's so important. Like that's what proves to you why history is so important, because you don't want to repeat it, and you can point out the patterns, which is why you remember how I think you said last time a country only lasts like 220
years. Yeah, something like that,
right? 250 years or whatever. And we're like reaching that point, and it's like you can kind of already see the things of democracy kind of collapsing with like January 6th, an attempted coup, the Republicans with the complicit in helping people in the attempted coup, Republicans trying to dismantle democracy by taking away voting rights and enhancing voter restrictions. Like there were voter restrictions passed. Let me see.
At the very least, the American empire is kind of crumbling.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Voter restrictions were passed in 49 states this year. I'm trying to find it. Voter restriction bills, in 49 different states. There were several things, such as cutting the time people have to request an absentee ballot and require new identification from them, limiting the use of ballot drop boxes, like that was a whole thing during the last election cycle. They were taking out places where they had always been, just because they're like, well, if they can't find a place to vote, well, like it's too bad. And you know, Republicans don't like people voting.
Yeah, they don't.
Because when people come out and vote, yes, it's like, why is it that when everyone has a chance to vote, the Republicans lose? Like straight up, Al Gore should have won in 2000. Straight up.
Hanging chads. That's like fucking stupid as hell.
Scam, corrupt, collusion, like. It
was so bad that fucking George Carlin did a whole bit about it. Like I call him Governor George because that's the only office he's ever held legally.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, like fucking hell.
It's insane. insane. Let me see.
And Al Gore's like the fucking climate change head honcho at the time. Like, imagine how much different the world would be right now if he got elected.
Honestly,
It wouldn't. I wouldn't say it'd be like super super different, but we would probably have a better hold on climate change.
yes,
we
he
would.
was all about that.
Yeah.
And I know, like, there's this thing where if you do something too much in the beginning, then people kind of lose focus of it. Where it's like, I forget what the term is, but where you're like scare people and you're like climate change, global. He called it global warming in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
It's like global warming. It's real. It's gonna kill us by year 2010, 2012, and we have to fix this now, right? Not alertisms.
Fear mongering.
Something like that, along the lines of that, right?
Yeah.
Where basically, if you do that,
fear mongering is usually irrational.
yeah. But like the thing is, if he'd been able to approach it, I understand why he did it that way because no one was paying attention.
Yeah.
But if he could then have become president and then toned it in a way of like, okay, guys, climate change, because you can say global warming, but I've got a snowball right here, which is something an actual Republican senator said. But if you frame it as that's what we now call it, climate change,
It's so
now
disingenuous. I hate.
we have more extreme heats, we have more extreme colds. That's why Texas fucking froze
And burned.
all in the same year, in the same month span, and the electrical grid failed both times.
Twice.
Both times. But everything's bigger in Texas, bigger heat, bigger frozen, and bigger deaths because we don't have
Bigger successes like H&B, and then bigger failures like their electrical system going down.
Exactly, it's fucked up. So I'm saying,
And people die. I mean, I know we're joking, but like people actually died
people
over that.
died.
Like people fucking died. Like they froze to death and they like overheated to death. Like that's like yikes on trikes, my dude.
I'm trying to see the okay. I want to see disputed vote counts. That's funny. So Bush v. Gore was a decision in the United States Supreme Court that settled a recount dispute, right? So there was a recount because 61,000 ballots had been missed. So the Bush campaign asked the Supreme Court to stay the decision and halt the recount. There were 61,000 ballots that they had missed. And
they just decided not to count them.
Oh my God. Justice Scalia, convinced that all the manual recounts being performed in Florida's counties were illegitimate, urged his colleagues to grant the state immediately. Wow. So 5 of the justices, this is so stupid. 5 of the, in a 5-4 split decision, which was like 5 Republicans and 4 Democratic justices, right? Scalia cited irreparable harm that could befall Bush, as the recounts would cast a needless and unjustified cloud over Bush's legitimacy. Justice John Paul Stevens wrote, counting every legally cast vote cannot constitute irreparable harm. So they literally just stopped the count.
Yeah.
When he could have won.
Yeah.
61,000 missing votes. And he only won Florida by... He won Florida by 537 votes.
537 votes.
Gore won the popular vote and lost the electoral, but he lost by like 600 votes. So imagine that's fucking 61,000.
Imagine if like that's fucking stupid.
Wait, let me see what. So the court first ruled 7-2 that the recount be stopped. And then the second time they voted 5-4. And yeah, basically they said that the deadline passed. It would violate the Florida election code, rejecting the extension of the deadline, but that's stupid. This makes no fucking sense. Sense.
I swear a lot of these things, especially with Florida, especially what we saw like this last election, a lot of them are like, yeah, we're using the letter of the law to circumvent the spirit of the law.
Media organizations analyzed the ballots, found that under any considered criteria, the recounts would have confirmed a Bush victory, whereas a statewide recount would have revealed a Gore victory.
Oh,
Jesus.
That's so fucking stupid.
Like, legit, it would have gone completely different. I don't know what would have happened if 9/11 had happened the same way, all that kind of
Oh yeah,
stuff. Because
under Gore.
because people say like, oh, Bush did 9/11, but like, there's no proof of that.
Yeah.
There is, however,
We used to
proof.
say Bush did 9/11 a lot. Like when we were at camp, we were always just like,
Legit.
we were like some like
It's
fucking 9/11
crazy.
truthers, like
Legit.
heavy,
Dude,
heavy 9/11
I remember
truthers.
being like 13, 14, watching YouTube videos going like, you can see Satan in the clouds in 9/11.
Okay, I don't remember that.
Oh, dude.
I didn't remember. I don't remember that.
That's how deep into the YouTube hole I was in like back then.
Damn.
Like, if I was like 14 now, I probably would be on Facebook fucking QAnon
Yeah,
dumbass
yeah,
basically
yeah.
like because my brain was not fully formed.
exactly.
You know, I
You're not
didn't
fully
understand.
developed.
Yeah, I didn't understand how to like get truths from things and stuff like that. So that's why like now looking back at that, I'm like, that was so cringe. Why was I looking up like 9/11 conspiracy videos? You know,
Yeah.
like obviously we did the government, they received the FBI and the CIA, they received threats of like, hey, there's going to be some sort of attack. They're thinking of like hijacking a plane and stuff like that. But because the FBI and CIA don't communicate with each other,
Yeah.
which is, in my opinion, dumb as shit.
Okay, so I have some thoughts about that.
Okay, because remember, there's two ways. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, it's dumb, but it's also they don't want to be like putting their fingers in each other's pies or whatever. Like,
Well, no, it's not just that. It's that the executive branch of government has had a disproportionate amount of increases in power over the last recent decades because of CIA. Because by nature, the CIA can't be controlled by the public because its operations need to be kept a secret from the enemy and other stuff like that, or even the general populace. Sometimes it's a risk to have everyone knowing what's going on. So their operations can't be informed by Congress or by anything else where. Even though they're bad systems, they're supposed to be representing the people,
I guess
and because of that, it's turning the executive branch into more and more of like basically a one person ruling the country
yeah,
because of their operations. Now, the thing is, if the FBI and the CIA started to communicate, because the CIA mostly has the executive branch behind it, I would expect them to eventually, 40, 50, 60 years down the line, just absorb the FBI into their operations, giving the executive branch even more power. Like the funding of the FBI along with the CIA is just like, I don't know, it's a little bit too totalitarian for me. It's like having your secret police unit, which is basically what the CIA is.
the Secret Service and everything.
Yeah.
SS Secret Service. Nazis. Have always been.
They've been here forever. Operation Paperclip. Go check.
Operation Paperclip. Check it out. Look it up.
How do you call it? Yeah, that's basically just the thing. Like incorporating the FBI into the CIA is like I know you could just say no. They'll just stop at communicating with each other.
But that's not what's gonna happen.
But it's like, come on.
But yeah, like I don't know, because like I feel like when it's that kind of threat, and they had like some credible sources to it, that should be something that gets tipped off. But the thing is, it wasn't just that they weren't communicating, but it's that they kind of just ignored it.
Yeah,
That's the
thing. That's the thing. If they both had their own separate operations running, they could still collide with each other, but at least they'd do something.
But now,
completely basically 9/11 completely avoidable.
But I'm thinking, do you think it was avoided because this is where the conspiracy, this is like a kind of this is not like a crazy conspiracy. This, if you think about it, kind of makes sense. You think Bush was
to be fair, all conspiraccy theories, when you're into it, sound like that.
That's right.
Like we have a conspiracy theorist here on the podcast. Fucking Walter. He doesn't believe in the moon landing.
Nah, we've gotten over that already.
Have we?
When Walter comes back, Walter, we're calling you out. Believe in the moon landing. Okay.
Where's your minute?
We'll bring you back.
Where's your minute? I will sneak into that army base and decapitate you. Where is your minute? No.
Okay. Walter's minute. Explain the moon landing conspiracy. That is his minute for this week.
Okay.
But
basically, yeah, like to them, like to Walter, the whole conspiracy theory makes complete sense. It makes complete sense to them.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Anyways, you were saying the conspiracy theory about how Bush did 9/11.
Okay. So basically, it's not just that Bush did 9/11.
Yeah, thirst traps on your sponsored ads. Why don't I get thirst traps on my sponsor? I just get stupid ads about like headphones.
Nordstrom. It's, I don't know, probably because I talk about clothes and stuff like that when I'm there. Because when I have it at work, you're talking about clothes, you're talking about shopping and stuff like that. That's why. Bastards, they got me. But I was gonna say, okay, this might make a little bit of sense when you piece it together, right? Bush wins, and then Bush's popularity starts going down. So he sees there's a credible threat, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna ignore that credible threat.
Yeah.
So when it happens, I can come out and be on top and be the leader. It's like, you know how an arsonist firefighter works, right?
Yeah.
An arsonist firefighter, first to the scene, boom, he's putting out, ooh, he's a hero, you know? Because after that happened, he was like, I am a strong leader, we will do it. And then he got reelected 4 more years in like a fucking landslide.
Yeah.
Because they were like, we're in the middle of war, and he's good, and the Republican warmonger machines. But on top of that, Democratic warmonger machines too, because it's all the military industrial complex.
I was gonna say the fucking gear thing. The gear thing, like the Republicans turn the wheel more to the right, and then the Democrats stop it from going back.
Basically. Yeah. They, instead of turning it the other way. But yeah, so we've got warmongering and stuff like that. So of course he wins again easily. And then 2008 comes along. He's like, and you know, the fucking economic crisis. Obama comes in going hope. And then Obama drone strikes a couple of people, some weddings in Yemen, things like that.
It's literally the meme. It's literally the meme. It's the, like, Republicans is just a basic drone sending bombs, and then the Democrats are like drones with like a gay pride flag on the side,
Yes.
just bombing Yemen. It's like, okay,
exactly. Yeah,
fucking
it's
hell.
like it's fucked up. But at the same time, I can definitely understand how much of a better president Obama was than Bush. Acknowledging that they're both war criminals.
I was gonna say every president has some good points to him. It's like no president has been completely horrible, I think, except for
I was gonna
Nixon?
say, was Roosevelt even a fucking? Was Roosevelt a war criminal? I am time to fucking atrocities under Roosevelt.
Atrocities under Roosevelt. Yeah, he destabilized
Criticism.
Panama to build the Panama Canal.
That's fucking true.
Yeah, he upended an entire country just to build the
also,
bridge.
the controversy with him was that he ran for a third term, even though no one had ever run for a third term before. So hypothetically, if he hadn't died, he might have run again, or but they were like, we need a leader and stuff like that. 1933 to 1945, he was president for fucking 12 years. That's crazy. Sheesh, as they say. So okay. Let me see. There were criticism against the New Deal. I mean, the New Deal was pretty good because you're reinvesting into the economy.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's why the new one's called the New Green Deal and stuff like that. Individualism to collectivism. Stupid. They're saying expansion of the welfare state. It's like, well, you gotta help people.
Oh no, well, it's not even that. It's like your economies of scale aren't going to operate correctly if your populace doesn't have money. Like the economy isn't funded by rich people. It's funded by the people trying to survive. And the more money that those people, the general population has, the more wealthy your whole economy and country are going to be. That's just simple economics. If you just keep giving money to rich people, they're not going to spend it on the economy. They're not going to innovate. They're not really going to produce more jobs because they don't have an incentive to. They just have extra money, which means they're just going to save it. What's going to incentivize them to hire more employees and create quote unquote new jobs, because they're not actually creating them, is having a population willing to spend money, because then they have an incentive to go and get that money. And by going and get that money, they're going to offer products, they're going to hire people to manage those products, they're going to do all that. So it all starts with the general population having money. The general population doesn't have money. The rich people aren't going to create anything. Like they're not going to do anything because they don't care. They the only thing important to them is money. Fucking
That's
dumbass.
crazy. So, I mean, obviously he was pretty racist. Cause
that too.
I was gonna say, so Japanese American internment, fucked up.
Internment
Literally,
camps.
that was an executive order. He put Japanese people and American citizens of Japanese ancestry into internment camps. After Pearl Harbor and stuff like that. What was that out there?
I don't know.
Crazy.
It's just a random person yelling.
People yelling outside.
Yeah.
I was expecting like elotes or something.
Oh yeah. Muebles? Oh, I guess they're picking up the furniture. Like, how sometimes you can leave furniture outside.
I guess
Just
so.
picking up. Do you have any rotten furniture?
I don't know why that reminded me of an Amazon package. It's supposed to arrive within the next hour or so, but it needs a signature, and I'm like, I don't even know if my parents are home, but we'll see. Oh, okay. So basically, he interned Japanese Americans. In the Berlin Olympics, only the white athletes were invited to see Roosevelt. The black athletes were not, like Jesse Owens. Even though Jesse Owens had gotten all the golds and beat all the
he did
Ubermensch.
everything.
Yeah, he beat the Ubermensch.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then it's funny. He condemned lynching as murder, but he didn't turn lynching into a federal crime because he was going to lose Southern Democratic senator support if they made lynching a federal crime. So that way, Southern Democrats can keep lynching black people, but it's not a federal crime.
To be fair, well, no, not to be fair.
No.
He shouldn't have done that. But that still happens today.
Yeah, straight up.
Like, not
Straight up.
to be fair is the wrong phrase of wording there. Like, to make it more horrible, even though now it technically is a federal crime.
Yeah.
Just murder. How do you call it? It still happens. Like,
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I remember like a couple months back, I was reading this news article. I need to find it again so I can send it to you so I could like put the images or whatever. But the vehicle of like a black guy was found like abandoned, and then they found his body hung up by a tree, a few miles away.
Yeah.
It was like they were looking for him. They thought, oh, maybe he was under the influence, or maybe the police took him or something, or maybe he had abandoned the car because it stopped working or something. But no, it came out that he was lynched, and it's just like, yikes. And that was here in California.
Yeah.
Not like, and I know some black people that like are like, yeah, I'm never driving through the
Southern
South ever. Like, if I have to take
It's
a road
too
trip,
dangerous.
I either, if I have to go to the other side of the country, I'm taking a plane.
Yeah.
I'm never driving through the bottom South. And there's people that live there, of course, like black people that live there, and they have completely happy lives. But just the stigma of those areas is just really, really hard on that, and understandably so.
Forget generational wealth. Generational racism
Yes.
is like way worse. And like I want to say like we're so sheltered here because we're in California. We're a relatively liberal state. You have pretty good places, but like you'll go to like, remember I told you I went to San Diego. No one's wearing fucking masks. Like we were getting food and the server was not wearing a mask. And like I know people will be like, oh, but we're already this part. Aren't they vaccinated and stuff? But it's like
It's not comfortable.
It still doesn't feel comfortable because now we have the Omicron variant on top of that. And the only reason variants happen is because it breeds and spreads in unvaccinated and unmasked people. If people had just listened, I'm telling you, Trump could have won so easily. He could have been like, everybody, let's work together. We're Americans. Wear the Trump for America mask. Everybody, we make the best masks. We'll have the healthiest people. We got the best shots. Everybody take them.
Yeah.
But instead,
He could have George Bushed it. He legitimately could have George Bushed it.
Legit. He could have done the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Fuck.
He could have George Bushed it and ran another 4 years. And he would have won. No one would have liked him probably, but he would have had the popular vote.
Yes. He did the first part right. He ignored the problem, but then he did the second part wrong. He just continued to ignore it instead of being like, let's be a leader or some shit. He was just like his fucking ego and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like I said, we're so sheltered here that we don't experience any of these kinds of things. Like we're lucky enough that we live in the community with like other Hispanic people, and like most like people here are still pretty good.
You know what I'm thinking of? Like,
still see that.
Even you don't even have to go to all the way to where was it? SeaWorld?
Oh, I said San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah. Up north.
Up north? You don't. No, not even there. I go 30 minutes. Santa Ana.
Santa Ana Republicans be like.
I go 30 minutes. Like I have to work in Santa Ana sometimes because like there's like good spots around there.
Yeah.
They're all like. This is not polite to say, but like a lot of the people there are kind of just broke. And I'm there working, and it's just like a lot of the people there just don't have money. Like they're just so broke.
I would say, I feel like, I don't want to say all of Santa Ana, because of course it's not blanket terms, but like
I was like
there's
in the
a lot
center
of people.
Downtown area, and like
a lot of working class people.
A lot of working class people. A lot of working class people that don't get paid a lot.
They're living paycheck to paycheck and stuff like that. Like,
and obviously they don't have like 33 different revenue streams that they have to like work a billion hours for.
They work not even 9 to 5. They probably work like fucking 9 a.m. to like 9 p.m.
Yeah, and
come back, sleep,
living it. Yeah, and so like, I don't know. There's like a correlation with keeping people, depriving people of wealth, like keeping the areas poor. The people in those areas, somehow magically ending up kind of uneducated, and then magically, and then
the racist system. Remember, your school funding goes on property taxes, which means poor people don't pay property taxes, so you and your stupid kids are gonna stay stupid.
Exactly.
Instead of giving everyone equal opportunity. Like I'm telling you, if I had gone to like Gauge or something. Like, who knows what would have
Oh, yeah,
happened? Like,
fucking hell,
Jesus.
dude.
I'm like lucky
Like-
enough I was able to escape and go to like a
I
faraway
don't know.
school. But
Even like, well,
Still.
it's just like even getting out of your area.
it's hard.
It's hard.
100%.
Like
People always say, "Oh, if it's so expensive, just move, idiot." It's like,
$15 in your bank account. It's
Yeah.
like, what are you gonna do?
how? Like, even think
I
of it this way:
need nacho fries.
even with $1,000 in your bank account, how are you gonna pay movers? How are you gonna afford to feed yourself without a job, without a revenue stream for a while? Because think of it this way: it's gonna take you like, let's say, a week to move, and then do you even already have a job over there? Do you have anywhere you might have to rent over there? All this kind of stuff. Like, no, you
Dude,
can't just up and leave.
I have like 60 grand saved up, and I do not feel comfortable moving with that amount in my bank account. It's
Of
nothing.
course
That
not.
shit's gonna leave in like
Yes.
so quickly,
So fast.
so fast. I'm maybe at most 6 months, I would say.
Yeah.
Between rent, utilities,
Everything.
driving, finding a new source of income, like the whole 9
Exactly.
yards.
Yeah.
That's not gonna last me at all. That's not
Yeah.
enough of a savings account to just up and leave somewhere.
Exactly. And then people say like, "Oh, well, why don't you just move somewhere else and find a good job over there?" And it's like, maybe I can't move to this place that costs 10 cents because they're only paying $2 an hour.
Yeah,
And
that's the other thing.
oh,
That's
all the
thing.
other stuff.
If let's say your rent is $30
Mhm.
and you make $40 here in
Mhm.
California, let's say, it's like, okay, you have $10 left over,
Mhm.
but there's this other place, it costs 10 cents, but you only get paid $1 or 50 cents.
Mhm.
You're gonna have less money overall in the end, even though you're paying less. It's like, it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter if the payments you're making are less if your total income also decreases.
Cost
because
of
your
life
move.
goes down, but so does your pay.
Yes. So it's all about the math about where your leftover cash, how much leftover cash you have. Because if you have $10 left over, that's better than having 50 cents left over, even if you're paying less. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just,
Like, if anything, if you can get a work from home job and then like live in a low cost of living place and a work from home job that pays well, like, hey,
but
Good-
not
good for
everyone
you.
can do that because I still want my McGriddle at 3 a.m.
exactly.
It's like,
I know there's
Yeah.
some luxuries you can't afford to lose.
exactly, Mhm.
Yeah, but no, I mean, yeah, that's why people tell you like, hey, just
I
move
say
somewhere else. You
McGriddle.
can't-
I don't even like McDonald's. I haven't.
It's
In the last
marketing.
10 years,
marketing. It's in your
last
head.
10 years, I've eaten McDonald's, I think maybe twice. One was for a McFlurry, and the other one was for some chicken nuggets that me and my girlfriend were comparing. Like, we decided, like, on this, that's a small date. We decided to get chicken nuggets from like two different places. I think Jack in the Box and McDonald's, and compare them to see how, is the sauce better from this one or is the chicken nuggets better from this other one? It's basically the same thing.
Mhm.
I personally still prefer Jack in the Box. I think it's better, but that's besides the point. I forgot where I was going with this, but yes, McGriddle.
Yeah, we're giving up luxuries and stuff like that. Yeah, but I mean,
I
yeah,
legitimately lost my entire train of thought over.
it's like we went all one way and the train has departed from the station, never to
Yeah.
come back. It's on shrooms now.
It was just like,
But yeah, I was gonna. It was a generational wealth and generational racism because it's. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really hard to, like I said, back to the shelter thing. We're really sheltered here, but like you said, you can literally go down 30 minutes and there's like super racist people.
yeah,
And like you said, of course, black people aren't gonna feel comfortable driving through certain places because you know just how bad it can be because they don't get enough money, they're not educated, and it's like there's this if they just had more exposure to stuff, they wouldn't be that bad. But that's kind of why Hillary lost, because you see the whole Rust Belt and you're like, oh, Trump's gonna win.
Yeah.
Like straight up,
Straight
Trump's gonna win.
the Rust Belt.
You
It
already
takes
knew
up so much land of the
the
country.
Bible, the Bible Belt, all that whole place.
Even though they have like no one there.
America's workers, basically.
Yeah.
The backbone of American society, the bread bowl, or what's called the bread states, like the ones that do all the farming and
The
stuff like
flyover
that.
states.
I know we're over here being like, flyover states is California elite, but it's like
Yeah.
they're the people who help all of fucking
Yeah.
feed all of America,
Agriculture,
agriculture, all that. Very important people. And Hillary Clinton was just like, fuck it, I have it in the bag. I can't wait for tomorrow. Ooh, I'm gonna win. And then the next day, she didn't win. And then everyone on Saturday Night Live was like, and it was funny.
Yeah.
I still remember being like, it's not even gonna be that. 4 years later, we're like, that was fucking terrible.
Dude, so I have this ingrained because I was like in Santa Monica College, right? It was the year that Pokemon Go came out, right? And someone was like, I was basically saying like, Oh man, I have like a sneeze, like a
Sneeze.
stuck right here on my nose. Oh my god, that's.
And then
And this guy was telling me about how like dude, he's just gonna be like every other president. He's gonna, he's just gonna do this stuff, and then we're gonna shift, and then everything's gonna stay the same. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, things are gonna get inextricably worse. He went on campaign talking about how like
losers, and he like just saying racist things
racist
straight
thing.
up.
Like I
People
still
felt
remember
comfortable.
like the Hispanic, the Mexican thing. Like these
People are no good. They're
Mexican
committing rapists.
yeah,
and stuff.
these rapists and shit. And he was on the campaign trail, not even as president yet. Like his seat wasn't secure yet, and he was already spouting racist shit. And then this, and in public, in like into a microphone. It's like one thing when someone like gets caught like under the table, like, oh,
Mexicans or something.
Mexicans,
Puerto Ricans.
fucking beaners or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a whole other thing when they're like just on the podium, like, you fucking pieces of shit.
Yeah. Straight up like berating them and stuff, and you're just like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what? And I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Of
Yeah.
course it's gonna be worse. I mean, yes, all the
And
other
it's-
presidents have been shit, but this one is you inextricably have worse ones and better ones.
Like the races just got louder and prouder, and that's why you got the Proud Boys, you got QAnon, you got all these insane people that came out from the woodworks being like, yes, we have our man behind us. And then like during this last election cycle, there was fucking ads on Univision being like, Mexicanos por Donald Trump. And it's like, what the fuck? Did you not
Yes!
did you forget what he said the last 4 years? That he
Well-
still says? Like-
okay, to be fair, Univision and Channel 34 are owned by Republican companies.
No fucking wonder. Well,
Right,
Well-
like all those small time shows, they're like the news cable broadcast. They're all owned by like 3 different companies or like 2 different companies, and one of them is like set neutral, right? Like no
Mhm.
political affiliation. But the owners of the other one, Sinclair, I think, are just heavy Republicans.
thank you, Donald Trump, Univision News.
Yeah.
Okay, come on. The Donald's run for president hasn't been all that bad.
Oh,
Jessica Weiss. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
And this is written in 2016 before they knew anything.
yeah.
Proved that we don't live in a post-racial society. It's much harder to argue now that racism does not exist in the United States. Okay, well, no, that makes sense because obviously racially motivated. Jesus, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's
Motivating and uniting Latinos. Oh my God. Trump campaign says Univision is leftist propaganda, even though
they're
Trump.
pro-Trump.
Like, okay. Look, it was like,
Ay, ay, por Dios, yo voy a votar por Donald Trump. La buena vida, por Trump. La economía, por Trump. Hazlo por tu familia, latinos por Donald Trump. Ay, 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 por Dios, yo voy a votar por Donald Trump.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
What the fuck?
dude, I'm cringing so fucking
that
hard. I got
was
goosebumps.
so bad. That was so bad.
They just said like 3 things basically, like por la vida, por la economía, and it's like not being
You know what
saying
this is the
shit.
equivalent to? This is the equivalent of like Maduro running in like El Salvador, running like a ad campaign in English.
Ugh,
It's like, what?
this shit was on Univision, dude. Like it was. It's like the worst fucking thing. Let me see.
That is so fucking cringe. That is cringe. That is too cringe.
Ugh,
That is too cringe.
like I don't. Some of the worst fucking stuff I've ever seen. And it's
that
like
is heavy cringe.
anyone who voted for him, and it's crazy because there was still a huge Latino population that did it.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all haven't been paying attention.
No.
What the fuck, man? Like,
Okay, to be fair, not to be fair. Again, bad phrasing, bad phrasing. But the internal racism of a lot of minorities in this country aren't ever really explored. Like, I think we've talked about this once or twice before on the podcast, but
Mhm.
like, if I walk into a store with like a black friend of mine or
Mhm.
something, like into like a Hispanic store, sometimes the Hispanic person will be like,
looking
"¿Por qué
at
estás con
you.
él?"
Yeah.
like, ¿Quién es él?
Not,
it's
not
like-
yeah, not just that, but it's
Dude.
there's a lot of like division still with Mexicans nowadays. We're like,
yeah.
oh, esos pinches indios, and like they're making fun of like native people, and you're like, those are your fucking brothers and sisters, cousins and stuff, and you're like, oh, I hope my baby comes out white, or oh, go and have a baby with a white person so you can improve the race. And it's like, what the fuck? Like what?
The hell are you talking about?
Mejora la raza, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, imagine hating yourself so much that you're like, I don't want to see my skin color. I want my babies to have a different skin color and like blue eyes and stuff. Like,
it's like what? The fuck?
it's crazy. Like,
no, dude, no, like on that same line. It's like when how do you call it? They have like this thing where like, and I know it's partly an American thing, but it's also just like I see Hispanics like, cause I said like the Chinese person, I said Chino, but any Asian person, it's like even Hispanics whose
Korean?
eyes are just a little bit too like
ese es Chino. And it's like,
what? Like, come on.
Yeah,
Why?
it's like, oh, the Korean guy down the street, Chino. The Japanese guy down the street, Chino. The Filipino guy down the street, Chino. Like,
Chino. Yeah,
anything.
it's like anything.
Vietnamese,
Chino. It's
like
what?
the
No.
the store owners is like, oh, vete con el chinillo y compra algo. And it's like
Like what do they call this corner store? Oh my god.
I'll bet you like $1 billion there's no such thing as like woke and stuff in Mexico. They don't give a shit about that.
No,
because it's like
they're just blatantly racist.
straight up. Yeah. Like I understand some things where it's like, oh, Latinx, my Latinx friends, like, no, that's not a real thing. You can't butcher a language and appropriate it. You can't whitewash a language because you don't like how it is.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. When you say Latinx and stuff like that, that is a white concept that you're colonizing language. And these same people that go Latinx will also go, oh, colonizers, down with colonizers, you know, while at the same time trying to enable other people to colonize the fucking Spanish language. You can't do that. It's like like, what are you gonna colonize French now? Where they're like, lex or whatever, because there's
Honestly,
gendered
why not?
languages. Exactly. Fuck. Le bread. It's like, no, it's not le bread. It's le breads. So that way, xe bread. It's not le bread. It's xe bread now. Like, these people, I don't know. Like, it makes no sense for some things, but then there's also things that on the other, like I said, on the other end of it, where they're like, oh, mejora la raza and stuff like that. It's like, you're not supposed to be doing that. Like,
it's like,
Jesus, like that's a terrible thing to say. Like, you're saying purify the race.
Yeah, it's
that's
like,
the direct translation. Mejora la raza. If your parents tell you mejora la raza, they're going purify the race. Purify the race.
Remove the impurities. That's like,
Yes.
oh, fucking hell, dude.
Impurities are removed. Purify the race. Purify the race.
For reals, like, and then they get so mad, like if you end up dating someone like this, like dark skinned, like they end up so mad sometimes. It's like,
it's crazy, dude. So many friends where they're like, oh, my parents didn't approve because I like the black girls. I mean, you're like, what is this, the fucking 1930s, bro?
even more than that, like yeah, they'll get some to that.
Mexicans are still in 1930s.
Like Latinas dating like black men. It's like,
it's a whole thing. It's frowned upon or whatever. It's like,
it's not just frowned upon. Like, they'll consistently talk shit about their significant other, like for no reason to. Like, they'll do nothing. They'll be absolutely polite and everything.
Yeah, and then in the back they'll be like, sí, el negrillo que se blah blah, el negrillo, and you're like, Jesus, like
fucking hell, dude.
Yeah,
Chill.
or el morenito, salió el bebé morenito, and you're like,
or sometimes they won't even say that. They'll just be like I don't trust him. I don't trust him. Why is he here? Like, why is he always here? It's like, because we're dating. Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, I know. It's a whole mess. There's so much stuff.
It's a whole mess. Yeah, like Hispanics are quite casually racist. Like especially older Hispanics, they're like quite casually racist. Oh, I guess like a lot. Like I see that a lot in like a lot of minorities too. It's like I can't say I haven't been into a shop owned by like an older black gentleman, and then him giving me the stink eye just because I walked in.
That's true.
Like, yeah. I can't say that's never happened.
He was staring at you because you were a teen, though, and teens are more likely to steal.
As an adult.
Never mind.
As like a 21-year-old.
Oh, okay. You gotta clean up, Edward. You gotta clean up. That's why.
Clean up. That 21 was right after I had cut my hair and I was like clean shaven. It was right after the Eagle Scout thing.
Was it after that?
Yeah, it was right after that.
Just start yelling. Damn. Well.
Yeah, it's like yeah, I guess teenagers, that's understandable, but like I was 21.
It's because you look young. That's probably.
I guess so. Yeah, I'll take it as a compliment. I look young. That's why.
He's like staring at you. He's like, "Come here, young boy." And you're like, I'm not gonna steal anything." He's like, "You already stolen my heart."
Only if I'm on top. No.
And that's rectified.
Oh shit, we didn't talk about Eternals.
Next time. Oops.
Next time. Oops.
We're broke till Friday. Goodbye, my friends. We'll see you next week. Now I'ma go and beat my meat. And we're broke till Friday. Bye, my friends. We'll see you next week. And now I'ma go and beat my meat. And we're broke till Friday.